Started. All right, welcome to your self-realization, everyone. Let's do our gratitude today. Everybody done their gratitude yet? Well, if you haven't, we'll do it now. Mother, Father, God, we give gratitude and thanks for this day. We give the utmost thanks for everything that we have in front of us, behind us, all around us, so that only the highest and best will occur through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Keep us in your protection for everything that we do today and all the days forward. We give thanks for this day. Amen. That was different, as we are every day, right? Mm-hmm. All right. 12 powers can be one of those things that when you get about a quarter into it, you go, okay, 12 powers is actually, utilized throughout the body all the time. It doesn't stop. And we've gone through the top portions of the mind, 3 of them so far: imagination, will, and understanding. And now faith is the next one. And so we're doing faith today. It's important not to go too fast when you learn your 12 powers, because you'll go a little wacky to get. David always says, what do you say? How do you put it? You don't want to do it because it'll get you a little stirred up. So go slow, and that's why we go slow. Sometimes it, in the world that we have today, everything's too fast. And, just really absorbing each one, knowing what they all represent, and feeling it, knowing your colors, knowing your symbols that represent this within yourself. So the location of faith is right at the pineal. I'll be darned. That very special spot. And it quickens spiritual understanding. Wow. So quickening of experiences to know the whole value. And someone does not take a long period of time to change. When one knows that the experience they are going through is theirs, then one can act quickly and not wonder who that experience belongs to. We look every day outwardly as a human. We think, oh, that's someone else's da-da-da. Oh, that shame on them, pointing all this stuff. When in fact, everything in front of us is ours, all of it. So when one knows that the experience they are going through is theirs, then one can act quickly and not wonder who that experience belongs to. Just be okay with it. Spiritual faith includes assurance and immediate response. When people hear the word faith, we hear this so often, they automatically will say, oh, I have faith in whatever this is. And this is very much, it is spiritual faith, but it is your knowing in 100% of every bit of the word. It is your knowing. So the term, like in when we're looking at the Bible to describe what faith was, we're going to talk about Peter and how he walked on water. So that's demonstrated of his spiritual faith. And so the effects of wind made Peter afraid, right? He made him afraid. And the wind represents the turmoils in life. And Jesus, the I Am, gave Peter a hand, which represents spiritual power, and the wind ceased. And turmoil in life is the result of what one sows. What is sowed is reaped. So it's really interesting how, every little bit of what the Bible, represents is all these different experiences of what we can foresee in our world, our own inner being. Trust that the law is correct. Trust is a part of this faith experience, and trust leads to knowing. And as I said, knowing is faith. Faith is like planting corn. And Reverend Marcia says this the best. You want to say it?
Well, which part of planting corn?
Or
I don't know. To me, okay, so to me, faith is knowing. And so I know that on a cloudy day, even if I can't see the sun, I know that the sun is there. And that's faith, is that knowing. I know that I have experiences sometimes that other people don't experience. So it doesn't matter to me if people say that's not real. I know what's real for me. And that's my faith. So I know that the law of cause and effect works all the time, that it's always in effect. I know that. And so even when I'm having a challenging week, I know that I can continue to say I am happy and healthy and wealthy, and that's what I'm creating. So to me, that is kind of faith in a nutshell, is that knowing. Even when I get shaken, I still have that knowing inside of me, and I can still move forward with knowing that these mind powers are always alive and active within me, all 12, all at the same time, in every cell, every fiber of my being.
Thank you. So good.
I expected her to say, I know when I plant corn, I'm going to get corn.
That's it.
You know what? That is something that I that too. I have talked about at times, and I guess that sentence wasn't the first one that popped into my head this morning. But yeah, it's like if you are planting corn, but then expecting watermelon, then you're just, you're not in sync with yourself. You're not your faith is in something that just can't be. If you're planting happiness but then focusing on sadness, then you're out of sync with yourself. So it's when we have experiences of sadness and we understand, okay, I know that through whatever experience I've had, that's the way I planted it, and it's coming up now. So I'm going to plant as much happiness for myself as humanly possible right now.
So well said. There's been Reverend Marcia, thank you. She's done some talks on this that were just absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure we have it on our YouTube channel there, back a little bit, but it's so well said, especially when you're talking about, if you're thinking of something else, planting something else, it's like just, it just cancels it out basically. Like if you think about all the positive thought processes that we're putting in our mindset. And then we go and we turn around and we say, oh, I'm just so STU, blah, 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 right? Or how ridiculous I, da, 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 right? Because those words are so powerful. You just like cancel out your whole word, all that beautifulness that you just might have done. And then now it's time to repeat it again. Start over. Just talking about words of faith puts one into action, and nothing shall be impossible. Knowing that anything can be, one will eventually find a way to do it. Really paying attention to all those habits, all those things that we've created in that subconscious mind that we can replace. But replacement is doing it over and over again. As you're talking about your affirmations, Reverend Marsha, like she's doing them continuously over and over. And that's what's necessary for that subconscious to get that replacement of what we originally planted it with. And how we plant those things depends on who our, higher ups were, or loud, very, have you ever had someone yelling at you and they're saying something very negative to you and it startles you? We just planted that in the subconscious, so when we're talking about those people, places, and things, those things, I know my parents yelled at me a lot. What they were saying probably wasn't the best thing either at that time, because I probably wasn't being a good kid, doing something naughty with my brother. But those things are really important for just knowing and belief. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, this just as an example, this morning, I go on a 2-mile hike every morning, and this morning I was having a tough time. I was just having a tough time this morning, and so it's just a lot of things just built up within me, and it just kind of a lot of emotion was there, and I was going on my walk, but I wasn't as joyful as I usually am when I'm walking. But I think that it's also important to be kind to yourself, because we are human beings with all different kinds of emotions, and we have, our lives don't go like this. It goes like that. Because if it went like that, we wouldn't be here. So, we have all these ups and downs and ins and outs. And what really, I think I find the most powerful about all of this information that we study is that I don't have to stay in that hard time, that tough time that I had this morning. I don't have to stay there. I can then, like, 300 times say my affirmations to plant 300 seeds for that period of time that I had a tough time. So I just, this is a subject for me that is just that faith, that knowing that all of this that we study works, and it's all real, and it's all, it doesn't matter what's happening day to day. We still have something that we can do about it. We still have things that we can say and do inside of ourselves to plant for the future. And that's what I'm always thinking about. I'm planting for tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the year after that and the decade after that, the lifetime after that. So, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to have experiences that are going to challenge us. We still have those.
someone said to me, I was in a session, one of my hypnotherapy sessions, and they said, so I was in the chair, and one of the trainers said, remember, you created this life. You wanted this life. You picked your parents. And I was like, oh, yes, I did, didn't I? I did choose them. Yes. Let's figure out what that is. Yeah, we going forward, so it's just funny, instead of blaming or having a situation thinking that something is a negative thing, it's really not. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, because we wanted all of these experiences to do something with them, and they're beautiful. They are beautiful experiences, whether they're, like you're saying, not the way that it normally would be, a little bit of a stirring up of some stuff. What it sounds like, for all of us, when that happens, it's something we want to let go of. It stirs up to be coughed up, let it go, replace. And this is where belief shows up too, in faith. So it's another state that makes up faith. And faith is like a nation, and trust and belief are states in that nation. I like that a lot. The more trust and belief are traveled, the more faith there is. Let's see.
You know what I like about faith is that once I go through that different time that it seemed a little bit harder, when I'm through it, it's such a relief.
Yeah.
And I know I've gained in my knowledge of what I went through that I thought I learned 50 years ago.
Right. So true. So the mind generates an energy that contracts the universal energy and causes circumstances for an event to be in line with attainment of that ideal. As ideas are attained, and each person knows their identity, which is unique. I have to say it over and over. You're unique and you're amazing. Every one of you. There's nothing like one of us. Nothing. Not even close. I wouldn't even try to be like anybody else. There's no reason for it. I would never be that. It's amazing how the Joneses, that do you remember that movie, The Joneses? It's like, so Jackie, in a real quick nutshell, they were like this they worked for a company that created themselves to have all these things so that everyone else would want them. Just go to California. The Joneses, they're all the same, right? They got the Mercedes, and so this group would travel around all of the world, or United States at least, and they would move to all these different locations, and they'd get all their neighbors to start liking what they had. How could you do that? That's just not you. You're so unique. So unique. And that's why
That's where the expression came from, keeping up with the Joneses.
That is. That definitely.
Okay, that makes sense. So when people choose their own lives, when you look out and you see poverty and homelessness and addiction and so on, people, they chose those lives. How much, you just want to go and fix it all. You want to just have everybody have a house and everybody have a job and everybody not be addicted and everybody. So how much do we contribute to help, or do they have to then make their own help as such? Do they have to make those decisions? How does that all interlock and fit in? Because this is what I'm always confused. I see people begging everywhere and I go, that's terrible. It really hurts to see people like that. How can we help or not help? What should we do in those circumstances?
So we're not one to really tell people what to do, because every single person makes up their decision on what they want to do and contribute to. Because my vision to what you're saying is totally different, you know?
Right.
One's vision when they see, because it depends on, you know, what your past lives were as to what you're seeing today, right?
Mm.
So what
Right.
you might be seeing is poverty, because maybe your last past life you were in poverty, and you feel for them because it just bothers you so much, because it just reminds you of something, right?
Yeah.
So being good with that, and whatever it is that you want to do, that's your routine, that's your life, that's your experience with it. And we always say, you know, giving love back to ourselves, because, you know, or forgiving self for an experience, not necessarily that it was a bad experience, but just being good with what is going on in the world, even though it might appear like, in your vision, might appear like it's horrible, you know, switching it around and seeing, oh, I went through that.
Right.
Yeah, I went through that. They're choosing to go through whatever it is they're going through, because there could be so many degrees. Maybe they were a newer soul and they decided they wanted that, or who knows? I mean, there could be many different reasons, or maybe they still.
Also,
You know, when you have an effect, you know that somewhere along the line you were doing the same thing as that effect was.
Ain't okay with that.
sometimes, you know, I've read some of the poorest countries with the most poverty actually have the happiest index of life because they cherish family, food, gatherings. So when we look at poverty, is it looking as a negative word, or are they truly enlightened and joyous? It's our vision that puts that onto them.
Right.
You never
Well,
know.
on the other,
They might be the most happiest sleeping in the dirt. We don't know. It might appear like it's not, but it might be just our experiences from the past that are coming forward.
Okay, that's interesting. Right, interesting.
well, the other thing you have to remember is poverty is subjective. So, I mean, I remember one time I had a minister and she was talking about, you know, the one time a year they have to talk about giving to the church. But she brought out that her salary, which was half of a half, in other words, she was half-time and she got half of it from our church and half from another church. But her quarter of what would be considered a full-time salary in the United States made her in the 1%, top 1% of the world. So we talk about the top 1%, we're talking about billionaires. I think it was $14,000 a year or something like that. It was minor, but if you put relativity of the whole world as opposed to just the United States, makes all the difference in the world.
And depending on how much you're talking about, how much one person makes, you know, people can get by on a certain amount, whether, you know, it's the mindset of where we're at with it. Are we POOR? Are we in poverty? Or, you know, are we happy with what we're doing? Are we happy? You know, what words are we using? Because we can, you know, there could be some really joyful experiences with $14,000 a year, you know.
Yeah, she was happy. You know, she was happy. But what I brought that up is because, Jackie, when we're talking about bringing from past life, it's also from how you connect it to this life, where you're looking.
It's always a connection. There's always something there for us either to see it, you know, for what it is. It's always there to showing up for some reason or another. There's definitely the lesson. And that,
You know,
going deep into that feeling of what do you really feel when you're seeing that?
I also think that, you know, perhaps because of past life experiences or whatever, it it creates within us a desire to serve in a certain, on a certain level, that maybe we're drawn to serve in ways that other people might not, choose to serve. So the things that drive you, Jackie, might create an act of service that you might be able to do some, like you see people without food, and so you decide, I'm going to feed someone, or I'm going to give to a food bank, or I'm going to to do some sort of service in some way that you're drawn to, where someone else might be drawn to knit blankets for people, because they've experienced bitter cold or something, and they want to warm people. So I think that there's a lot of ways that we use our experiences to grow and to serve in positive ways, but perhaps not in a way that that makes us focus too much or primarily on what we're seeing and not on what we're doing. What are we doing as we move forward?
Right. Well, I know when I was a single parent with 2 young children living really month to month, it was very difficult. I mean, every single penny counted. And that went on for quite a while, even when I was working. So I can very much empathize with the people who are in that situation. I think, yes, it does make you want to help other people, but it also makes you very, now that I've overcome that, very careful with things. You don't waste food. You don't buy excess clothing. You always donate your clothing. You're careful with what you have, and you make sure that you pass it on to others who might need it. So I think that had very much had that effect, of that you treasure everything you have, and you're very grateful for absolutely everything. You don't take it for granted. You just say, thank you for this new t-shirt. I really appreciate it. And you value things. So yes, perhaps that was the lesson that I was learning, and I don't know what lessons other people are learning. So
everyone has something different. So this is interesting what this says for faith. It says this: the mind generates an energy that contacts the universal energy and causes circumstances for an event to be in line with the attainment of that ideal. And there's 3 that says this here: as ideas are attained, each person knows their identity, which is unique. And then understanding that doubt, fear, poverty, as we just mentioned, dis-ease and death have existed through the mind, then one makes changes. So understanding that those things have existed through the mind, then one makes changes. And knowing that a higher power is in and through one is a comfort. The will of God is that you should not suffer. It's so interesting how universe just shows up with all these little similarities, right? So through I am, one has complete escape from sin, sickness, and death. And sin, sickness, and death are not punishment willed by God. They are results, consequences of broken law. Understanding the laws is involved in change, and applying understanding and imagination to the change will put understanding and imagination into action, and the change is clothed or formed by faith. Absorb that, baby. Like what? Repeat that again. So right now, this is the pineal, if anyone's really familiar, and I'm sure you all are. That's what we're into, we are experiencing as we're speaking about this. And so we usually close our eyes and we pick a color that shows up for us and a particular symbol. So as we're in the meditation, I invite you to do so and have one for each one. If you haven't already, gotten the ones from the previous, spend some time on each one, find out what your color is, find out what your symbol is, and work with those, because those are yours until it changes, because it can change too. And when it does, write them down again, write them down and recall and really meditate on those, because when you're in all of these are working all the time. But when you're wanting to work on a particular one for what your action is, what your intention is, all of these have their wonderful facets, a part of you.
When you say color and symbol for each one, you're talking about imagination, will, understanding, and faith. Okay.
And
Just-
all the ones coming forward. Yeah, there'll be more.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure I had it right.
Yeah. And then when you, what we usually do is when we're doing a 12 powers class, like all on its own, we ask each time we go into the next one that you merge with the one previously. So if you are in your meditation and all of a sudden you have these colors that are appearing, obviously that's from your, understanding, imagination, will, all connecting together. And so you'll find that you'll have some changes in that too, in your imagination. Okay. All right, so you guys ready for your meditation? All right. Lady J already knows that it's coming. All right, let's concentrate on our breath. As this breath moves through the nostrils, it relaxes each muscle, nerve, and vessel in our being. This breath is what sustains you. It is the breath of life. Feel the relaxation that this breath brings to your being. As this relaxation moves gently in and around each part of your being, it turns into something very beautiful called love. You recognize this love as being alive and active with each breath. Just relax and recognize. As you exhale, you release physical toxins and negative attitudes you have toward yourself and all people concerned. Relax, recognize, and release. As you're releasing the toxins and attitudes, they are being dispersed into the I am. Gently allow this breath to settle in the feet area. This is the understanding part of our being. As you understand yourself clearly, then you understand the world that you move in. Just relax, recognize, and release. Feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leave as this breath moves to the ankles and up the legs. Feeling all agitations and irritations being dissolved. Relax, recognize, and release. As this breath moves to the hip area, relax and release that which does not belong to you. The hip represents independent movement. You are now free to move in life and free to be you. Very gently allow the breath to move to the base of the spine and the small of the back. Allow the breath to stay here for a few minutes. This breath becomes stronger and stronger, for this is the strength area. Strength is confidence, security, and firmness. Now allow the breath to move up the spine. As this breath touches all vertebrae, muscles, and nerves, you feel enlightened, giving up the burdens that do not belong to you and taking care of what does belong to you. As this breath moves up the spine, You feel confident, secure, and firm. Relax, recognize, and release that which does not belong to you. As this breath touches the shoulders, feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leaving. The shoulders represent responsibility in life, and know with each breath that you are doing your responsibility in life with freedom and ease. You also allow all other people to do their responsibilities with the same freedom and ease. Allowing this breath now to move down the arms, relaxing, recognizing, and releasing, reaching the hands. The hands are the giving and receiving part of our being, and we give to receive and receive to give. As this breath is in the hands area, feel the breath that is between the hands and how good this breath feels. This goodness is you. You are extremely good. Take this goodness that is you and place it in the lower abdomen area. The greatest gift of all lies here, life. You are full of life, and life is full of you. Life is happiness, health, and wealth. You eliminate all that hinders you from life, and you put order into your life. Order is the adjustment of all mind powers moving in a harmonious manner for life. Very gently now, allow this breath to move to the stomach area. The stomach is the judgment area. Let us fully and freely release all mistakes and judgments that we have made that have led to mistaken action, and replace with correct judgments that lead to correct action. Relax, recognize, and release. Feel all tension, nervousness, and frustration leaving. Allow this breath to move to the heart area. The heart is the love area of our being, and with each beat of the heart, love moves to each part of our body. We radiate this love, and wherever we go, this radiance is felt. And the universe gives back to you that radiance. Relaxing, recognizing, and releasing that which does not belong to you. Very gently allowing this breath to move to the throat area. The throat is the power area in life, and you are in command of your life, and you are at ease with that command. Relax, recognize, and release that which does not belong to you. Very gently allowing this breath to move to the back of the head, to the very crown of your head. From the tips of your toes to the crown of your head, you are relaxing, recognizing, and releasing. As you're in this relaxed state, think, feel, or see yourself walking down a path. You feel the path beneath your feet. You notice the grass that lines this path. You notice the sun twinkling through the trees that also line this path. As you walk down the path, there's a gentle breeze that touches your body. This is the breath of life. It allows you to take the next step in knowing yourself. As you walk down the path, there's a clearing in front of you. And as you walk into the clearing, the softness of the grass touches your feet. Knowing that you are very protected, you walk into the clearing. There's a body of water that is crystal clear and warm to your touch. There are paths that lead away from the clearing. And as you walk to the body of water, if you choose to go into the water, submerging completely in the water, breathing freely, and all organs functioning properly, know that you are very protected. If you choose to lay beside the water, absorbing the four elements, the sun, water, air, and earth, or you may choose to explore the paths, feel free to do so and enjoy. remembering all that you have seen, sensed, felt, or heard, and feeling very refreshed and keen. You notice your healing clarity from your healing circle. You notice that every one of us surround that healing circle. And you notice that your healing breath starts to expand to touch each and every one. And we become one healing breath. One healing breath. We direct this healing breath to the healing box. And for all the souls making and have made transition, all the institutes of health that state that peace is the journey and destination, all those affected by the winds, the rains, the snows, and the movement of the earth and the fires, that they are all protected and healed. As you're aware of your healing presence, and as you move towards your path, you notice anything changed, moved, or taken away. And when you're on your path, your mental and physical consciousness becomes aware, remembering all that you have seen, felt, and heard, and feeling very refreshed, alert, and keen. And when your mental and physical consciousness is fully aware, open your eyes. Well, hey there. Give everybody a minute to get grounded a little bit. All right, so who wants to go first? How you did there with your self-realizing? You just go ahead and speak out.
Well, I'll go first.
Thank you, Lady J.
So I decided to submerge in the water, and my color was orange, and my symbol was a cross, not the Christian cross, but the one where all four are the same. I think it's a Maltese cross. And then in the middle of that was like a really dark blue or purple stone. And it was interesting because what I got was that faith has a bit to do with expectation. So I'll give you an example of what's happening in my life right now. Monday, I'm going to have a procedure done at a local hospital. I go through the VA system, but this is going to be done at a local hospital. And when I was told it was going to be done there, they called me and said they'd put me on the list and I could call them back. So I called them back, and I've been calling them back about every 2 days, expecting to get on the list. And then they called, I'm trying to think, Wednesday, I guess, and said, well, we could do your surgery on May 3rd. I said, yippee. And I mean, I was grateful, but I wasn't overly grateful. I just had the expectation it was going to happen as soon as they opened up the May schedule, and that I would be, right on the top. Maybe I didn't realize I'd be first, but so anyway, when I talked to the cardiologist on Thursday, she could not believe that I had gotten an appointment for May 3rd. She thought it would be a year from now. And she just went on and on about, don't tell anybody here about it, because there's many people in front of you that are waiting, and went on and on and on about how, but I just had faith it was going to happen. And it never occurred to me that it wasn't going to happen. So I think there's a piece of faith that gives you an expectation. Or maybe the expectation gives you the faith. I don't know. But anyway, I never heard anybody tie those two together, but that's what happened in this meditation.
Your knowing said May.
Yeah.
And it happened.
And then I tried to go back and put symbols and colors to the other three, because I never heard you say that. You didn't say it, but I just didn't hear it. But somehow I wasn't allowed to do that. I have to do it separate. You can't mix it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And who knows you know, you've been with us for, you know, I want to say 3 years now, probably, right, Lady J, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
And it's, as David said, his ex-wife was saying, I think it was his ex-wife said, when did you start saying that? Or someone said it, and they go, well, we've been saying it always, you know, it's like, it's so
Yeah.
funny. It just happens. And sometimes we might not say it in this year's circulation. You know, we might not say something, but we say something else. So you never know what might come out, but it's all meant for whatever reason we all need it, right?
You hear it when you need to hear it,
Yeah. Well said.
or when you're ready. I don't know which, and I guess you're ready when you need it.
Yep. When you want to absorb it. Yep. All right. Thank you, Lady J.
Thank you.
Jackie?
Yeah, I had a very nice meditation. I was walking along the road in the village I used to live in Scotland. You went through the woods. I made the road. I walked most days through the woods and then through the sheep pastures and up to this castle that did a lot of wedding venues and so on. And I sat there, and there's a body of water there. And it was, I could feel the presence of a lot of people. I knew my angel and my main guide were there. I could feel them, I could see them. And then my mom and dad came, and one on each side, and my ancestors, and my genetic ancestors, and the gear they were wearing, and my brothers who have all passed. And they were just giving me so much love and support. And they said, you know, we'll be with you. You know, I'm anxious about Wednesday. We'll be with you the whole time. And I said, well, why? You know, one brother settled in New Zealand, one brother settled in Germany, one brother settled in Scotland, and he has no living relatives, you know, no children to pass on. And I'm settling in the States. Why our family is doing this? And I said, it's meant to be. This is just part of your life experience and the global perspective. And don't worry, we're here to help you make that happen. Don't feel like you have to have that high forever back home. And it's okay. It's okay to be here and to settle and all the rest of it. So it was very loving and peaceful, and I could feel them all just. The energy was just amazing and beautiful. It was lovely. It was nice to see them. And it was nice to see Kilcrew Castle again. It was lovely. So it was a great feeling. And basically it was, this is all meant to be. Just keep moving forward. There's a reason why you're here. Keep moving forward. There's a reason why you're in this group and you know these people. So have faith. That was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Very good. All right, Casey.
So I went into the water, and it was very healing. And I just basically floated on the top of the water. The colors I saw were turquoise. Symbols were orbs of light, like bubbles. And they were coming from below. And they would pass through me and clear out my atoms. Sounds weird, but literally just kind of bubble up like, I would guess, cascade in a dishwasher. There's been some, yes, there's been some stuff this week that I kind of slipped through my recovery process through some medications that I was not to take, and my doctor wrote me a script, and it was on there, and the addiction part of me abused the prescription to Adderall, and I felt shame because I was like, what am I doing? I'm slipping back. So there was a lot of shame Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I ended up disposing the medicine properly. Taking it away from me was my way of removing something toxic that I know I shouldn't have. And I put faith by disposing, it'll give me strength. So I feel like the healing waters was a way of forgiving myself and also letting love and light take away all the toxicity that I placed into my body the past 3 days, and a rebirth, a renewal. And it's okay.
It is. It definitely is. Thank you for that.
I think that's a wonderful description, that the cascade, like the dishwasher was going bubbles through. I think that's a wonderful description, just sort of cleaning and lightening and freshening. I like that very much.
Thank you.
I resonate, like I see it, every bit of my body, whatever this thing is here that I could touch, I feel that. So thank you. That was very well said. Very good description.
Casey, it was funny because I sneezed in the middle of it. I was under the water. And when I sneezed, I also felt like stuff just left, and they left in bubbles. So thank you for sharing, because,
there's a correlation.
Yeah, I didn't understand how you could have bubbles inside of water, but after you talk, I see it's possible.
All right, Reverend Marcia.
Oh, I think it's really interesting that this week, the four of us all went into the water, because I went into the water as well. And that's the first time that I've, since coming to this class, that I've gone into the water. But it just, it was for healing, and it felt really peaceful. And I think that it was also a feeling of, I was completely alone, which I loved. I wanted to be, just let me be, just let me be. And so being, just by myself in the water and just feeling the water and feeling peace was really, really nice. There was something that popped into my head during the meditation as well, was, we talk about planting seeds and gardens and all of that. And there was an experience that I had when with a garden that we had many, many years ago in Bisbee when we lived there. And we were growing all kinds of things. And we knew what we grew, and we labeled everything. We knew where everything was. But there was a plant that came up that we didn't plant. It was scallop squash. I mean, we had planted all different kinds of squashes and stuff like that, but scallop squash came up, and we got quite a few actual squash to eat from that plant. And so it's always something that reminds me for this study, is that sometimes things that we nurture, we don't even realize that we're nurturing and growing. We're aware of a lot of things, but sometimes we do things that we're just not even aware of growing. And so that was a positive thing that grew as a surprise. Sometimes there can be other things that are not as positive, that kind of pop up that we don't realize that we grow. But I think the importance to me of coming here every week and doing this focus is to just constantly remind myself as to what it is I'm creating, and to stay focused on it, and do that healthy focus during the week. So yeah, I'm really grateful, and thank you.
Thank you. She's like my favorite to hear about the seeds. You get such good stories. So good. So good. And it all relates to everything that, this whole universal law, and it's perfect. You just start talking about your farm, or you start talking about your planting, and it's there. The information. All right, Reverend David. Thank you, Reverend Marcia. Reverend David.
Yes,
How did you do?
we're going beyond. Understanding going beyond, is no matter how many times we go through similar situations, we are still going beyond. And there's always information about yourself that we're igniting at that time, and when we go through things that we think we've gone through before and everything like this, that there's still more of you to experience. And so I was taking a look at some of the people that were in the classroom today, and there was a child over here, and there was another person over there, and everything like this, and I was, so it was just kind of nice. It's nice to see those things.
Mhm. Well, it's good that that it's nice to see those things.
Reverend,
There, it's like they are. They're all the time.
Reverend David, do you ever feel these beings, like the child, could be a representation of one of us in our childhood coming to you?
Yeah.
Never really thought of
But
it that
the
way.
main person that relates me to is myself.
Mm.
That makes sense.
David sees me occasionally when I'm not around. He's like, I saw you. And I was like, he's like, you were here. And he said, I wanted to call you. Oh, I'm not ready to go to the other side. Don't, it's okay. I'd be dancing in front of you if I was, I'd just be like, there'd be a different, meaning behind everything. I'm like, oh, I'm just, visiting. Yeah, it's really interesting, there's no explanation, but there is. We just gotta go within, right?
Mhm.
Thank you for that. All right, we've gone way over. So my apology. Yeah, everybody look at the time. So next week, just be prepared for those who are not in Arizona that the time will change tomorrow, 2 a.m. our time. So we don't change. Our time doesn't change. So just get comfortable with it. Stays, the same as where we are at 10 o'clock, but you guys will be different. So be prepared for that. All right. All right.
I will be in my car.
All right. That's okay. We don't mind that at all. There's no. All right.
But I'll be parked. I won't be driving into meditating.
I've done that.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I saw a bright light.
First time that's done.
That's
I
true.
love it.
You remember when-
Jackie, good luck on Wednesday. We'll all say, or anyway, I'll say a few prayers for you. What time do you anticipate?
1 o'clock is the appointment. Yes.
And
1 o'clock.
You're in Arizona?
I'm in Arizona. Yeah, I'm in Tucson.
Okay, so
Thank
1
you.
o'clock, 2 o'clock my time. Okay, I'll send you a little positive energy.
Much
you very
love
much.
and light your way.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations on passing your test.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Without further ado, we'll do our gratitude, and I am grateful for all of you. Mother, Father, God, we give gratitude and thank yous for this day. We ask for your infinite light of protection to be with us and through us as we move on with our day, so that when we see those that are in front of us outward, we share the love that is so abundant. And we give thanks for this day. Amen. And thank you.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Much
Everybody have
love
a
to you
really good
all.
week. Everybody have a great week.
Thank
Nice
you,
to see you.
everybody.
Best.
Thank you.
too.
Thank you.
Hey, Rose.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.